Welcome to the Homeschool Paradigm Podcast. I'm Angela, and we are laughing today. Sarah and Rachel are both with me today. So Rachel's back
Hello.
from a very long
Hi.
trip, and we missed her. Okay, so I wanted to just do a little follow-up on the last episode where we talked about a couple of the learning languages, and I only wanted to reveal two of them. And then I decided that we'd get the girls to talk about another one. So, which one did you guys decide to talk about?
Courage.
Courage.
Courage. Okay. What? Oh, I did change I read the descriptions, but I updated the PDF. So the descriptions are actually a little bit different. They're from the point of view of the child. So I'm going to read that one, the one that courage. It says, I need to know it's okay to mess up. I always want to get it right, and it's scary when I don't.
Sarah and I have two opposite perspectives of that one.
Yeah. Okay, I will tell mine first. Um, so I was just thinking about how whenever I'm feeling courageous, like in general, it's when I'm able to trust myself to say or do things without being afraid of how I look as much. And so that's kind of how I think about it. And I remember I would have a lot of questions that, like, asking them, I'd be like, I literally have no idea what this is or how to do this if it was
Mhm.
something I was doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And sometimes it made me feel a little afraid to, like, ask a question or just do it without asking a lot of questions because I didn't have that courage in myself that I was smart
So were
and
you
that
kind of
I could
stuck
do things without,
between,
like, questioning.
so were you stuck between
Mhm.
not being able, like you didn't feel like you could go ahead and do it without asking, but you didn't want to ask? Is that what you mean?
I think I was afraid of feeling stupid if I just did something and then
Mhm.
it was, like, completely opposite or completely
Oh.
off because, like, sometimes that would happen, you know?
Mhm.
I do think in one way you were really good about just correcting, like if I did something totally off. I remember there was a period of time where I remember you kind of being like, I kind of just told you that. Not in like, oh, you're so dumb kind of way, but I
Oh,
think
really?
when I didn't have that courage in myself and that faith in myself, it was hard to hear my parents sound like they didn't have faith in me either.
Oh.
And
Huh.
so I
Yeah, I
think
didn't
when you
realize.
started, well, and I
That's
think
fine.
that
Yeah.
I had probably, like, mentioned it at
Mhm.
one point. And I think when you
Yeah.
started kind of being like, oh, it's okay, I'll just explain it in a different way,
Mhm.
then I had more confidence in more courage because I could just do things and they could look like whatever. Like they
Uh-huh.
could look rough or they could not be right, but I was still smart.
Yeah. You told me that it was making you feel that way, or did something you
I think
say?
in the moment, I don't think I, like, brought it up as like, hey, I have this problem, but I think sometimes I would go, that makes me feel stupid. I do
Yeah,
remember
I,
that.
I do remember you saying that.
Okay. And then that's when I changed it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think there was a
Good.
slight change where you were
Good.
kind of like,
Yay me.
where you were kind of like, oh, maybe I, realized that like that's not the right way to put that. So I don't know. I just remember that and carrying that with me, like today, like I was saying that my husband Ethan is a really good example of just like helping me have confidence and be courageous in the things that I say and do, even if they're
hmm
gonna be wrong.
Yeah.
And that has just
Yeah.
made me feel so much smarter and more willing to try things.
Yeah.
hmm
Yep. It makes a difference. Good. I'm sorry that I needed to be told that, but I'm glad to hear I changed it when you
It's
did.
fine.
Yeah, I guess for me, when I was reading the thing under courage on the sheet, I was thinking of ways that you and Dad did it well and not so well, and I think obviously that's normal for a
Yeah.
parent to do things well and
Yes.
not well at different times or different tiredness levels or whatever. But I'm kind of the opposite of Sarah. I'm not a perfectionist at all. I'm like the opposite. And if somebody wants me to do something perfectly or in a specific way, then I actually want to do the complete opposite and throw it all in the garbage and be like, done with you, done with this.
Have we noticed a
Um,
theme in the podcast about Rachel's personality? You will not be telling me what to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing about homeschool in my mind. I
Mhm.
think when you do something, you do like math or you do whatever and you get things wrong or still need to learn some stuff. I think for me, when I was doing those things, a lot of times I just want to like do it. And if I did it good enough, I'd want to move on. But with homeschool,
Mm.
like I think it's a cool thing. Now I think it's a cool thing. Like, oh, you can actually go back and work on those
Go
things and get
master
good
it
at those
completely. Yeah.
things and actually learn them. But at the time, I would sometimes feel like no matter what I did, like it was kind of irritating to me to feel like I had to get the math sheet perfect. I had to get anything perfect because I don't
Mhm.
care about perfect. I
Mhm.
just am like, oh, it's good. I don't want to have to get the problems or the assignment perfect. So if I
Yeah.
didn't get it perfect, and then you wanted to be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's good. Let's go back and review this. You missed
Right.
these. You didn't get understand this. That's a great thing, but I guess I thought of it with the courage thing, and I'm not sure if that makes as much sense. That for me, I had the courage to get something wrong, but if I felt like it was then pointless, like me doing it and working hard on it was pointless because if I got something wrong, then I'd just do it again. Those were the times where I maybe the courage was squashed and I just didn't want to do it in the first place at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
The
Well,
next time
I
I
Even
would
though I
want to
didn't
do it.
expect it to be perfect to start with, I wanted to work
Right.
on it
So
until it was
yeah,
mastered
but
or
I think
till it
it's
was right.
interesting how like different kids might display them differently.
Hmm.
For different people, courage might mean something else, which might be more confusing, but I think
Yeah.
it's interesting how like Sarah and I would display that differently. Like she wanted like courage, like her courage would be that she wanted to go on and get and correct it and get everything right. But for me, I wanted courage to do the next thing by being allowed to just get something wrong and move on with life.
Hmm.
Well, and I think I was kind of jealous. I kind of like Rachel's way because I was a little bit jealous like growing up. I think it made her more courageous to like do things in front of other people. And those were like some of the
Yeah.
things that I wanted to do, but I think she was able to just be like, "Oh, I know I'm good at this. I know what I'm good at, and if something doesn't look good, that doesn't necessarily mean anything." And
Yeah.
she can just let it go.
Yeah, that's true.
We're still kind of jealous of Rachel that way.
That's that's what I meant.
But I think my weakness with that is when if something comes up with it and then after I do it, somebody wants me to correct it or to do it differently,
Oh,
then
she
I'm
hates
then it
that.
kind of shuts me down and I'm like, well, I'm never doing it again.
So does that, do you feel like that's taking away your courage to do it again? Or just, you're just like, I'm done with you. It's not that you're afraid to do it again. It's just you're like, I did that. I'm done.
It depends on how much I sink into it.
It depends on the person.
If it's someone I care about, their opinion, then it like takes away my courage, which honestly I feel like that's the opposite of how it should be. Not the opposite maybe, but I feel like if someone I care about is telling me, that shouldn't take away my courage, but for me that's kind of where it
Hmm.
does that. So like in school, you and dad were telling me, I care about your opinions,
Yeah.
and
So
if you were
let's
telling me,
get it right. Yeah.
let's get it right, then yeah, that would kind of kill my courage for the next time. And I'd be like, don't want to do that. Might get it wrong again. Then it's pointless. All the time I spent on
Hmm.
it. No, thank you.
Mm. And I think you have to know your kids. Talk to them. Like honestly, Sarah
Yeah.
told me whatever it
Hmm.
was. What did you
I mean, I
what did
think
you
you
say you
can
told me?
tell. I think you can tell when your kids are kind of afraid to do or say stuff. And I honestly think one of the things that you can do that's helpful immediately is just saying, like, oh, just say it. If
Yeah.
somebody tells me when I'm not feeling courageous in like expressing myself, because that's something that I kind of struggle with sometimes. A lot of the time, if you just say something like, well, just say it, we'll figure it out, then it,
Hmm.
Yeah.
it makes me feel like I can just say it. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
sometimes it's as simple as just telling them that it's okay if they're wrong. They can say it out loud. They can do it wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and honestly, I really think it's super important to let your kids see that you are not perfect. If you are a perfectionist parent, it's hard to let your kids see any imperfection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what helped me was even though I don't think I said it, like Sarah said something, she actually like said something about it. I
Mhm.
think for me, I don't know if I ever actually said it, but eventually you did change that, and I think it's just because you got to know how I was, I don't know, feeling with all of that.
Yeah.
And so eventually, like as I got older, that did change a lot, and we stopped rehashing, this worksheet
Yeah.
or that problem or this assignment. And it would just be like, oh yeah, this is kind of what you got wrong, this is what you got right. And then the next time I would just work on it again. I wouldn't do the same worksheet. So I think even though I didn't say it at that time, you got to know that about me and you weren't unwilling to change, just
Yeah.
kind of like a little adjustment for how it was better for me.
Yeah. And maybe even Sarah saying it helped everybody. I may have changed it with everyone, not just with
Yeah.
her.
Well, and I think like I think the bottom line is that we all want our kids to excel, and if they're not feeling brave, that's not going to serve them at all as they grow up. If
Right.
they're not
Yeah.
feeling courageous, like you want your kids to be courageous, right? Like I think
Yeah.
that's something that everybody wants is they like teach them affirmations like I am brave. I think that that's like one of the most valuable things that they can have is to be brave and courageous in what they do and what they say, even if it's not exactly right, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we want that as parents, and we don't realize we're actually kind of squashing it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, girls. Thanks for listening.